What are the only two things that you need to grow your business? My name's Neil, I'm a business coach and personal growth mentor, and my promise to you in this video is I'm going to show you how 40 plus Tony Robbins events and spending over $500,000 to build a $5 million consultancy really changed my life. And I'm going to show you two strategies that is going to shortcut your journey to achieving similar results. I'm going to share my story, my client stories, and most importantly, these two frameworks. Only two frameworks. How I got here was I had a panic attack when I was 25 years old, set me on the personal development journey. And during that time, I started listening to lots of podcasts, trying to figure out why I was having these panic attacks. Why was I getting so anxious? I was actually working in a job that I hated. And through these podcasts, I found a men's mastermind group based in Nashville, Tennessee. So I joined that mastermind group for about 2 years. I was with 100 other entrepreneurs. We were all setting goals together, learning new things, and it really upped my game. Then after those 2 years, I thought it was time to up my game even further. And so my wife recommended that I go to a Tony Robbins event. My wife probably regrets that I joined Tony Robbins because I ended up doing 40 plus events. I'm quite fortunate. My wife's also into personal development too, and she ended up doing about 4 Tony Robbins events. I did 40 plus. Everything I do, I go in hard. And I'm really excited to share with you in this video the two systems I've come up with that have shortcutted all of my progress that I've made on my journey. Okay, so I did 40 plus Tony Robbins events. Around the same time, we have a structural engineering consultancy, and we were growing that in our villa. So we had a spare bedroom in the other room, and we had 3 employees doing about $300,000 a year. And we were kind of stuck, maxed out, and wondering, how can we take this business to the next level? We're kind of using all of our time. We were thinking about selling the business to another consultant, being absorbed by them, and then working for a buyout period. And the consultancy was so small, we only make about $200,000, $300,000 a year. That's when we enrolled in a business coaching program. We did EMF business coaching, did 2 years of that, plus with the 40 plus Tony Robbins events and all of the network that I built in that community, and many other marketing and sales masterminds I've done. I came up with my 7-figure simplifier process and also my AERO Incantation System. So these are the two systems I'm talking about. My AERO Incantation System, this is an internal system. So I'll tell you in a second how I got around to building that. And then my 7-figure simplifier framework is my business system. So I've got an internal personal system and then an external business system. Okay, so these are the only two frameworks you need. Trust me, don't sign up for any other business courses out there. This will be regurgitated in other business courses, and what I pride myself on is taking very complicated concepts and making them very succinct so you can learn them very easily. That's a bit about my journey and how I got here. And one thing I want you to understand is you don't need more content. I used to think, oh, I'll do 40 plus Tony Robbins events, many other masterminds, sales and marketing courses, and you don't need more content. Everything you need is already within you right now. If you look at the people who've achieved the most results, the biggest success in life, they've done that without having much resources at their disposal. They had resourcefulness on the inside. They got stuff done. So I want to show you how you can find that resourcefulness inside of you and stop being dependent on people, courses, money, materialism, external things to get you what you want. After doing these 40 plus Tony Robbins events, I was a bit overwhelmed. I was like, right, so much good content here, so many amazing people. I met billionaires, real estate tycoons, every industry you can think of. But it was a lot of content. I was thinking, how can I take all this content that I've learned and really put it into something actionable that I can use every day? And that was a bit of a challenge for me. But that's when I came up with my incantations framework. So anyone who's been to Tony Robbins or is into personal development, incantations are basically affirmations, mantras. These are sentences I say in my head all the time. So I've come up with this system 7 years ago. I've been teaching it to my clients now for the past 7 years. So it's really well ingrained into me. But you might be thinking that's quite overwhelming, saying these sentences in my head over and over again. But it is quite simple. If you know anything about chakras, these are points along your spine, and it's basically where your emotions come from. I have a sentence for each chakra. There's 7 chakras. There's one at the base of your spine, then your groin, then your belly, then your heart, your throat, your brain, and then up here. So there's 7 chakras. And also in my business framework, 7-figure simplifier, there's 7 functions of business. What a coincidence. You've got 7 areas along your spine that you focus on, and then 7 areas of business. So this is how you will manifest into your life the 7 functions of business that you want running optimally, so that you can get the results in your business. So I'm going to tell you what these 7 functions are now. Before I get to that, there's the incantations framework. Okay, so I said there's the AERO Incantations framework, and then there's the 7-Figure Simplifier framework. So before I get to those 7 areas, let's talk about the personal framework first. Because if you don't have this down, then you're going to get a bit overwhelmed with these 7 frameworks. Okay? So my AERO Incantations framework was from all these Tony Robbins strategies. So he has like state, story, strategy, focused language, and physiology. He has a 6 human needs framework. He has all these different frameworks. I was getting overwhelmed by it. So what I do is I have a sentence for each chakra, each function of business. Within that sentence, I have different types of language, a pronoun, an adjective, a verb, and a noun, okay, which satisfies your human needs. And then I have this for each area of business. So my 7 areas of business are leadership, finance, management, branding, which is the back end of your business, and then marketing, delivery, and sales, which is the front end of your business. I've also added an 8th one in recently called data. It's all about getting more research and data, but I don't want to complicate that. I'll teach that to you later. So you've got these 7 functions: leadership, finance, management, branding, and then delivery, marketing, and sales. So there's 7 areas. I've got a sentence for each one of those areas. And I rehearse that over and over again with my clients. I have a spreadsheet. I will be sharing a free blank template of this spreadsheet for you, so you can fill it out yourself. If you do want help doing it, please get in touch. And in the spreadsheet, these 7 sentences are kind of expanded upon. So you have these metrics, sub-metrics, sub-sub-metrics, and then that really paints the picture and helps your business take shape. And basically, you're gonna have a sentence for each part of your business. So leadership is the root chakra. That's at the base of your spine. And leadership is all about planning, creating all these plans. So that'll be the physical metric from your root. And then you're also going to have emotions for those plans. What are the best kind of plans? What are the worst kind of plans? Then you have an action, so how these plans are going to be created. And those are the 3 things that you're going to focus on: a physical metric, the emotions, and the actions for each part of your sentence in that area. Then for the second chakra, the second area is finance. Again, the metric there will be physical resources. You'll have an emotion and an action. Third chakra in your belly is going to be management. So there you will have schedules. That will be the metric that we are producing. You'll have an emotion and an action. Fourth chakra is branding. Here you're going to have identities and relationships. Who's your ideal client avatar? What do you want your brand to look like? And again, we'll have an emotion and action for that too. Then in your throat, this will be delivery. And this is all about your customer experience. You'll have an emotion and action for that too. Here in your third eye, you'll have data. And this is the data we are using to improve our product or service, or track each function of our business to see how it's improving. 7th chakra up here will be environments. Okay, so where are you marketing? Are you marketing online? Are you knocking on doors? Are you doing phone calls? Which environments are you going into to find new clients? And finally, sales. This is the 8th chakra up here. And that is communication channels. How are you selling to people? You're doing it by email? Are you doing it on video? Are you doing it on Zoom calls, face-to-face? How are you selling to people? And then for each one of those metrics, you'll have an emotion and an action too. So just to clarify, you're going to have plans, resources, schedules, identities, relationships, customer experiences, data, environments, and communication channels. Those are the only 8 metrics you need in your business. That's it. I guarantee you, once you get very clear on those 8 metrics and we start building them out, add the right emotions to it and the right action, you are going to be flying, absolutely flying. I pride myself in being really consistent. I've built up a very good reputation in the Tony Robbins community for being very disciplined. A lot of people reach out to me all the time saying, wow, you're so disciplined. How do you get that discipline? It's through this incantations framework. I always have these sentences that I'm saying in my head, and then I'm just following that all the time. It really keeps my energy nice and stable. Okay, so that's the business system, the 7-Figure Simplifier framework. Then I've got my AERO Incantation System. And that's AERO is an acronym. It stands for Allow, Emotions, Results, Optimize. So these are the 4 parts of yourself that you really need to manage and activate. So I talked about those 7 business functions. Those are the 7 areas of life in business. And I've also got a very similar framework for your personal life too. Okay, but let's just focus on the business for now. So you've got the 7-figure simplifier framework for business. Then my personal framework, AERO Incantations System, stands for Allow, Emotions, Results, Optimize. So there's a big cliche in the personal development world. Every program we'll sign up to about thinking better, mastering emotions, it follows 4 steps, which is thinking, feeling, doing, and having. That's the cliche in personal development. You think correctly, feel correctly, do correctly, and then you get things correctly. So you want to be aware of that all the time. What am I thinking? How am I feeling? What am I doing? What do I want to have? And that's where my AERO Incantations framework comes into play. So allow is for your thoughts. Okay, so you're just allowing your thoughts to come and just really focusing on what it is that you need to do. Then emotions is having emotions for each chakra. Results is all about what do you want? It's all about your mind, okay? What are the metrics that you want? And that's covered in my business framework too. And then finally, optimize the actions. What are the actions that we have to do over and over again? So allow for your thoughts, emotions for your feelings, results for having things, and then optimize for doing. So that thinking, feeling, doing, having, it's covered in that framework. Okay, so once you're allowing your thoughts, you're feeling the right emotions, taking the right action, and clear on your metrics through my system that you're saying in your head over and over again, it becomes very simple to get what you want. Hence why I call my framework 7-figure simplifier. So how can you implement this system right now? I'm going to show you a free blank template that I'm going to send you. If you click below this video, there'll be a link to get a free template. So just message me and I'll send you the blank Excel template and you can fill that out to get your own incantations for you. Okay? This will help you be so centered because you'll know exactly what you're focusing on, you'll know how you want to feel, you'll know exactly what you need to do, and you'll know what physical results you want to manifest in your life. That's it. You don't need all these fancy strategies and frameworks. You just need certainty on the inside. What you get in life is a reflection of what's happening inside of you. So if you are not happy with what you have in life at the moment, think, am I happy with my thoughts? What am I thinking about? Maybe that needs to change what I'm focusing. Am I happy with my emotions? Are they like really low and depressed all the time? Maybe I need to up those. What about my actions? Am I taking the right actions? If not, what actions do I feel I need to take inside of me? And then finally having, okay? What is it that I think I don't have, that I feel like I'm lacking? And then you need to get clear on that here. And then if you want to get more spiritual about it, I actually talk about the organs, so your brain, thyroid, lungs, heart, kidney, and livers, and how physical metrics and manifestations link to those organs. I talk about chakras, where your emotions come from. Another thing is subtle bodies, so these like energetic bodies above your head, that's where your energy comes from. And then finally, just believing in God, having faith that everything's going to turn out. That's how you have really light thoughts and not much darkness comes into your life. So having that faith in God, getting clear on where your feelings come from, your chakras, actions come from your subtle bodies, and then physical manifestations come from your organs. I can guarantee you that a lot of you don't focus on your organs. You've probably got very weak livers or kidneys or hearts or lungs. And those organs manifest things into your life. So I'm going to show you that in my framework too. So those are the 2 frameworks that I promised to teach you. My 7-figure simplifier framework for business and my AERO Incantations framework for personal. So again, I'm going to give you blank templates so you can create your own AERO incantations. I'll show you a summary of my 7-figure simplifier framework too, so you can build that out into your own business. So DM me through the link below to get a link to that. And then you can start practicing that every day. I'll be posting more videos on here too to show you how to implement it daily. And I guarantee that this will help you. It's really helped me. Through the link below, I've got testimonials of clients I've helped build 7- and 8-figure businesses. This will really help you too. So please click below to get a copy of the blank template. And yeah, enjoy.